Good morning. Am I recording? Yes, I'm recording. Um, it is late in the morning on the 13th of June, 2024. Hope you're all well. I'm a little bit refreshed from the way I was a couple days ago, last time I recorded. Done a lot of thinking. Jeff Smith sent me a nice email again. He has a lot of good advice, and he's very detailed in his emails, which I greatly appreciate. He related to me that he had problems with his 62 Lincoln, I think he said, which has drums all the way around, drum brakes. And he said it took him 10 months to resolve a similar issue to what I'm having right now. He said he also replaced all his springs, his hardware, with Chinese-made stuff, which I guess most stuff is nowadays that you buy. And he had the drums turned and all that, and he had trouble with the brakes grabbing, and he replaced the wheel cylinders, lines, master cylinder, the whole 9 yards, and he couldn't figure out what was going on. And he said eventually he put his original springs back on, which he had saved, and then the problem went away. He said he had I think it was the same wheel, if I'm not mistaken, right rear, where the wheel was grabbing, the brakes were grabbing. It got overheated and hot and was smoking. And although he wasn't sure if the springs actually fixed it or if it had just worn down enough where it just wasn't an issue anymore, but he suggested I look at the brakes as a possibility. And it kind of makes sense because the car doesn't really seem to have trouble until after I've driven it a substantial distance and done some braking, especially from high speed down. Then all of a sudden the noise is back, and it's shuddering, when I step on the brake pedal, which it shouldn't be doing, considering I have new brakes and I had the drums turned and the rotors. So I'm thinking about looking in that direction a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is, I mean, it could be something as simple as the parking brake cable. Maybe I have the parking brake cable too tight. I don't know. Um, so what I'm going to do initially is loosen the parking brake cable substantially, so there's no pressure at all on that line. And then I'm going to take the wheel covers off in the back, because I'm going to take it out for a spin, a long spin, get it up to 70 again, and heat it up real good, and then bring it back and see how it does. And if it's still doing the same thing with the parking brake cable loose, I'll check. Just my bare hand, I'll just touch the wheels to see if they are hot, one or both, one or either side, to see if there's an overheating issue going on. And if there is, then that would definitely point to the brakes as the source of the problem. Um, Another possibility, I happen to have saved this yoke that goes in the back of the transmission, connects to the drive shaft. It has these very specialized 3 sets of bearings that go inside and mount inside of it that match up with the splines on the output shaft in the transmission. Those can sometimes go bad, so that's another possibility. This one's good. It's a little bit dirty inside. I need to clean it out, lubricate it again with some transmission fluid. But I could swap that out as another, it's kind of that whack-a-mole thing where I'm just starting to replace pieces and parts until I figure out what the problem is. I mean, it's solvable. Many of you gave me encouraging comments. I appreciate that. There's always a solution. Just got to find it. So, like I said, I'm going to start with the brake cable, take it for a spin, see how she does, and just keep working away at it. And maybe I'll physically pull the drums off too and look a little closer inside, see if I'm missing something, about the way the brakes look or whatever. I don't know. We'll keep working on that. I received my AC system flush here, 2 cans. This is my Super Cool, reasonably priced. Got it on Amazon. So that's as I continue to accumulate stuff I need to swap out or assemble my air conditioning system with some new components and convert it to R134A. On the compressor, I talked about how the pulley was misaligned on the new one that I bought. I talked to the seller. They are happy to exchange it for me, but of course I would have to pay return shipping, and there's no guarantee that when I get the double pulley one back, that the back pulley, the groove, will even line up the way I need it to. So I decided I'm just going to take the loss. I'll keep the compressor, but I bought a rebuilt clutch from old car clearance, the old, Baker's Auto, the remnants of them. They still rebuild those, and they just rebuilt a new one, another one. So I bought that. Should be here soon. Then I just need to figure out how to remove the new clutch from the new compressor I have, and then install that replacement clutch on there. And I'll probably just try and sell this this clutch that came with this new compressor that I have. I've also decided that I'm not going to drain the ester oil that's in the compressor now. It came that way from the factory. It's full. I did some research, and ester oil is compatible, it says, with both R12 and R134A, which when you're converting a system from R12 to R134A, which is what I'm doing, I think it's actually better just to leave the ester oil in there since it's compatible with both types of refrigerant, because even though I'm planning on flushing the system out, there may still be some remnants of R12 in there somewhere. So that's what I decided to do, save myself a little money, because it's already got oil in it. It came pre-filled from the factory, and it says right on the label on the compressor that it's compatible with R134A. So I'm going to trust that and go with it. So I returned the PAG 100 oils that I had bought, both from Amazon and AutoZone locally. So get a little bit of credit from there. And I think that's it for now. So I'm going to get started on the what's going on with my car as far as the brakes or whatever that vibration and shuddering is coming from the car. We'll see how that goes. All right, quick progress report. I only did one thing, and that was I completely loosened the parking brake cable, the emergency cable, brake cable. I completely loosened it, so the steel lines were completely slack, not putting any pressure on the rear brakes at all. Took the wheel covers off so I could feel the wheels after I've been driving it a while, just to make sure they weren't hot, getting overheated. And I drove it extensively. I drove it a lot, up to 75 miles an hour, and zero noise at all. I drove it for like an hour, no noise at all. A little bit of shuddering still from the brakes, a little bit, not nearly as much as there was. That may just be the drums are just too far worn, and I need to get new ones. It's not really enough for me to worry too much about right now. So apparently it was the brakes, and I replaced that bearing needlessly. Well, I say that, but that bearing was a little loose. In fact, I'm going to eventually check the one on the driver's side too, just to make sure. There's still a little bit of vibration, going down the road. Not severe, but definitely not as silky smooth as it should be, like my 2011 town car is. That could be the drive shaft still needs to be balanced, or it could be that yoke I talked about earlier. I'm still considering replacing that. I'm not as excited about doing it now, since apparently it was more of a brake issue as far as the noise and the vibrations and all that. So I didn't expect that. So shout out to Jeff Smith for that. Thank you very much. I received my new oil seal today. I'm not going to bother putting it on right away. Next time I have a chance to get that wheel off, whenever that might be, I'll check the seal that I doctored to put back on there to make sure it's not leaking. If it's not leaking, I'm just going to keep this seal as a spare for now. Don't need to put it on if it's holding. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to put my wheel covers back on, and I'm going to go drive it some more. This time I didn't take it on I-95, but I didn't need to really to get it up to speed. This time I will keep it up speed, higher speed longer, because that's where it really seemed to fall apart before. So I'm going to take it for another longer test drive just to make sure that seems to have been the gist of it as far as the problem. I also had to add 2 quarts of transmission fluid to the transmission. That thing is really leaking. I knew it was, but got to keep an eye on it. So that something I got to watch. Eventually, of course, I'll rebuild that transmission, but right now I really don't want to. I can't. I don't have the ability to do that without a garage and a flat concrete surface or whatever. So, but anyway, so I feel a lot better than I did 2 days ago when I was pretty bummed, about what was going on. So, thanks again for your suggestions, those who wrote me and sent me private emails and all that. It helps a lot to keep me going. So, that's it for now. Okay, this is going to be kind of silly, but I got to do it. That, my friends, was a victory lap. After a lot of driving at high speed, 70 to 75, for like 25 miles, there's absolutely no noise at all coming from the back. So apparently, it was just the parking brakes were too tight. That's all it was. So the shoes were rubbing against the drums, and I may have created some flat spots because I did it too long, because there's still a little bit of shuddering when I step on the brakes, but nothing like it was before. So I can live with that. It's not that bad. There's still a little bit of vibration, like I said the last time. That's probably, going to take having the drive shaft balanced and maybe replacing that yoke. But that I can live with. I now feel comfortable driving this car down, say, to Baltimore, which is a little over an hour away, to where Dave Ramsey lives. I wanted to bring this car when I work on his car the next time, so I can use this as a template or when I redo all those vacuum lines under his hood, under the hood of his car. So I feel so much better. Let me tell you, I was really down a couple days ago, but again, thank you, Jeff Smith. You're the one that gave me the genesis of the idea to focus on the brakes, and apparently that was it. So I'm thrilled. I really am. I'm happy. So now I feel I can drive the car like I've been trying to get there. So next up will be the air conditioning system. I'd love to get that working too before I go back down to Baltimore, but we'll see how that goes. I did rent a puller, just try and get that new clutch off of the air conditioning compressor that I bought. Supposedly you don't really need one. You're supposed to be able to use a bolt to just kind of turn it out while the clutch is engaged, but I'm going to try the puller method first, so that's the next thing I want to try right now. All right, so now I'm working on getting this this clutch removed and the whole assembly removed from this new compressor. I think I actually have everything I need to go ahead and flush the AC system. I don't know if I'm actually going to attempt to start that today or not, because there's a lot of work involved with that. I might do some preliminary work. Haven't decided yet. I should have my replacement clutch in the next day or two. Also had to buy a new set of brushes. Those sit right here. I bought a new set to go with my rebuilt clutch. But those things I could easily install after I've already got the compressor on the car. That's why I say I might actually have everything I need to proceed with flushing the lines, the evaporator, the condenser, all that stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. First, I'm going to pull this off. And the puller kit that I got from Advanced Auto didn't work for this. And I really shouldn't have bothered anyway, because there's a default way of removing these pulleys from York-style compressors. There's two size holes in here. The smaller one is for the retaining bolt, and the bigger one is for removing the pulley. All you have to do to get it off, from what I understand, is you have to activate the clutch with 12 volts of power and leave it activated, and then you turn this in, and it just pulls the clutch off. I mean, it pulls the pulley off with this wrench and everything. So I'm going to go set this on my car, get my power supply set up so we can do that. All right, I have the wiring hooked up here to run the clutch. I'm going to connect it and leave it connected so it locks in place. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it click when it comes on, but it makes a pretty good click. Now it's locked in place. So supposedly I can now turn this out. We'll see how this works. I've never done this before, so hopefully this actually works. I see the pulley turning. I don't know if it's supposed to be turning or not when the clutch is locked in place like it is, but let's see what happens here. Huh. Okay. Even though the clutch is engaged, it's still turning. That's interesting. Don't think that's how it's supposed to work. At least according to the shop manual, I'm supposed to be able to engage the clutch, which it is engaged, and then turn this out. So not sure. So anyway, let me figure out what's going on here. Turns out I was just making it more complicated than I needed to. All I needed to use was my trusty impact gun. Just gave it a couple of quick pops, and she came right off. So now I have that clutch off, and I'm going to, just like I said, try to sell that on eBay or something, because I don't need it. And this, I don't know if this part will stay on there or not. I assume it will. My replacement clutch will just mount right on there when it comes. So that part was easy. Wanted to show what the old compressor looked like when I took the pulley off, the clutch. These are the brushes right here. They're completely worn down to the nub. That's why when I try to apply power to it, nothing would happen. They're completely worn down. So I'm glad I ordered a new set of brushes for that. And the old clutch is pretty worn out too, so I got another one of those coming. I don't know. I guess I can hang on to this as a spare or maybe a rebuildable core or something. I'll ask around, see if anybody could use it. Anyway, just wanted to show that. All right, I'm going to wrap this up for the day. I actually have more time. I could work on the car, but I want to start fresh, like first thing in the morning when I have a full day to work on that air conditioning system, because I'm sure it's going to be an all-day project, if not more than one-day project. So I'm going to wrap it up for now. I have to finish this AARP driver's course to keep my insurance discount active too. So I'm going to force myself to do that instead of doing what I really want, which is to keep playing with my project car. But had a big win today with finding out what was going on in the rear of the car, so I'm really happy about that. Have a good day.